Hello, we are back with episode 8 of Independent Learning. Um, I'm recording this on Thursday, the 10th, because I probably won't be able to record on Sunday morning, because I'm gonna be down in Kansas City. Gonna be back home. But I guess this will give me an opportunity to see how to use the post, like the set of a time for goddamn dude. No one cares about all this. Anyway, it's Thursday, not Sunday. This will be released Sunday because I don't want to release episodes 2 days in a row. I don't know why not. I mean, it doesn't make any difference, but I'm just not doing it. I'm just too autistic. I need to keep the schedule. But my brain won't let me release on a Thursday. I'll go full Rain Man. No, no. All right. Yeah. All right. 56th day anniversary. I'll call it 2 months. I'll I'll take it. I'll take it on, and I'll say this is the 2 month anniversary episode, the Gallic Wars, and this is gonna be a long episode. I think I have almost 6 pages of notes. By the way, to everyone wondering, and I know all my thousands of fans listening to this are wondering, why we need pictures in the notes. When are we gonna get more pictures in the notes? Well, here you go. First page of the notes has pictures. One of them is actually pretty good. The other one is maybe the worst drawing ever, and I traced both of them. Both of them are traced, and one of them is like really pretty good, and the other is awful. Um, like like I say every episode, no one's listening to this. No one's definitely looking at the Instagram. Besides like some Indian bots. Besides fucking Hajir Magomedov or whatever. You know what I mean? So this episode, dude, I cannot ramble for this episode because we got 6 pages of notes. I'm gonna have to run through this, or else my fucking headset's gonna die 10 times when I'm recording this. So let's get into it. The Gallic Wars. If you don't know, this was the Roman Republic versus the Gauls. Alright, yeah, I'll just get into it. We're gonna start with a little bit of background info um, on the Gauls. The Gauls were a tribal group of people who just kind of lived in the same area and had similar cultures. So they were Celtic. They had a Celtic culture. So they had druids. What else? Long hair, like those swirly like tattoos and body paint and stuff. That's them. And the Celts used to be all over Europe, but the Roman Empire basically got them, pushed them into Ireland and Scotland and Wales. But anyway, there were 60 tribes, and there was a lot of infighting, and some of the tribes were allied with the Romans. Some of them were against the Romans, so yeah. When people say the Gauls, they're just talking about like it's like the same thing as saying the Native Americans. Like there's like hundreds of tribes. A lot of them are fighting each other already, so it's the same kind of deal. Anyway, Gallic land was about 191,000 square miles and covered France as well as parts of Germany, Switzerland, Belgium, and northern Italy. Yeah. So that's where the Gauls lived specifically, this specific group of like Celtic people. They lived pretty much France. Just imagine France and a little bit around it. The map I drew was awful. Fucking in this map, Spain looks like an upside down like World War II helmet. It's not a great drawing, but it gives an idea. If you look at the Roman Republic drawing on the Instagram, you can kind of see the outline of France. So just yeah, picture that. Dude, my brain is dead right now. Holy shit. Alright, anyway. Yeah. All right, Belgium and Northern Italy. Gauls and Romans were beefing for a few hundred years, and the Gauls sacked Rome in 387 BC. And I think, yeah, this was still Rome, the Republic, but it was kind of new. You know what I mean? It went from like a little like kingdom just around the city of Rome into the bigger empire, which is probably why the Gauls sacked it. They saw them coming and they were like, "Fuck, we gotta fuck these dudes up before they fuck us up." Which not the smartest move, as we'll see coming up. That one really came to bite them in the fucking ass hard. I mean, yeah. Anyway, so the Roman Republic. That's what we're dealing with here, not the Roman Empire. So, I mean, it is an empire, but it's not like run by an emperor. It's run by, the Senate and stuff. Um, but anyway, the Roman Republic lasted from about 509 BC to 27 BC, preceded by the Roman Kingdom, which was from 753 BC to 509 BC, and succeeded. Damn, dude, I'm so funny. I don't know what's wrong with my mind. It's just not very consistent. I, you guys have no context for saying that. I'm looking at like the audio levels. I mean, actually, you do, because you could barely hear what I said there, probably. I don't know. I haven't listened to any of the recordings. My voice sounds bad enough, dude. I don't want to listen to it on a shitty mic, too. That'll make you get like vocal cord surgery. Anyway, um, yeah. And the Roman Empire lasted from 27 BC to 480 AD for the Western Roman Empire, and then 1453 for the Eastern Roman Empire, aka the Byzantines. Um, before the Gallic Wars, which is what the map is of, Gallic. I'm saying Gallic because they're called the Gauls, even though there's no U in there. It's just a Gallic. I'm saying Gallic. Gallic. I sound like someone from Boston trying to say garlic. Fucking idiots can't even say their R's. Anyway, um, but it covered around 560,000 square miles before the Gallic Wars. Now I sound, maybe I am gonna say Gallic because I can't say Gallic. It sounds retarded either way. I sound like I'm from Boston whenever I'm saying it, but doesn't matter. And covered nearly every Mediterranean country. So yeah, they didn't have Egypt at the time, but yeah, like most of northern Africa, all of southern Europe, uh, Turkey, uh, Lebanon, Israel. No, I don't care. Israel, Palestine. It's a fucking hunk of desert the size of New Jersey. I don't know. I don't care. Either way, it's fine by me. No, guys, you don't understand. This piece of desert has to be occupied by a specific ethnic group, or else I can't live my life. You guys, it's really like, look, I know I'm still live at home with my parents and I take 30 medications a day, but you don't understand. If this ethnic group is not leading this country, then I cannot live my life. It's just so important to me. Yeah, me, the guy who is 30 and can't hold a job down for more than 2 months. I really need Israel to be running this fucking shithole, not Palestine. You guys don't understand how important it is. No, I mean, obviously it's a war. It's human life, but I don't really give a shit. Anyway, fuck, dude. Every time I do this, I turn into fucking like a news channel. Actually, I don't because I said I don't give a shit. Anyway, it's a single unified republic. There was some political problems, and there was going to be a few more once they conquered Gaul, but for the most part, they were pretty solid. You know what I mean? Nothing was coming in and fucking them up, unless that sets up our story a little bit, or it gives us some background info for the reasons of the war. But anyway, um, reasons for war. That's our next little section. Despite their history, the Gauls in Rome lived in relative peace, and were valuable trading partners with each other. So, yeah, they were pretty much chilling at this point. There was a little beef here and there. There was also a few allies here and there. A lot of Roman merchants lived in Gaul, I guess because it was good for trading. I don't know. I didn't really look into it because that's not what this is about. But anyway, although they were called barbarians, the Gauls were an ever urbanizing and developing group. Yeah. So they had like cities and nothing compared to Rome and maybe like some other like cities in like Greek, Asia Minor, Egypt, and probably at this time Far East Asia, but Rome probably didn't know about those guys. But yeah, they were coming along to Rome's speed in terms of urbanization, um, and farming and all that. Still a little barbaric. The main reason they called them barbarians, I found out, and this sounds like some bullshit. This sounds like it's probably not true. It sounds like the dick thing. You ever hear that? About how the Romans thought big dicks were barbaric? It's like, I don't know if that's true. I think the Romans just had small dicks and they didn't know it. You know what I mean? Oh, fuck. Uh, shit. Maybe this episode won't. Oh, never mind. I just got a thing that my internet disconnected, but it reconnected. Thank God. But yeah, the main reason they said they were barbarians is because they didn't water down their wine. I feel like that's bullshit. I feel like they thought they were barbarians because they fought naked. I don't know. Maybe call me crazy, but maybe that was more of an indication to the Romans that these people were uh not as civilized as they were. But anyway, uh Rome respected the Gallic warriors for their ferocity. Yeah, they fought naked. They were pretty ferocious. Most historians credit Julius Caesar, who was a general at the time, and also most people, including me, I didn't know this. He was a general before he. I honestly don't know what he did. I just know that they killed him. But I was like, what? Cameo? Turns out not a cameo. Turns out he's like the main character of this whole thing. But yeah, they credit him with starting this war to pay off the debts he earned from being a consul, which is like a politician basically. Like he ruled over a couple provinces. Caesar was a beast, dude. Like no one else was allowed to rule over two provinces. He ruled over two provinces in the normal like what's that called? Not a sentence. Is it? The normal my mind is blanking. However long they rule over is normally 1 year, but like they made a special rule just for Caesar so that he could rule for 5 years. It's probably because he was I think these were like in northern Italy near the border. Um, and so that's probably why they gave him that special shit because he was like a great general, military leader. Dude, my brain is fried right now. I just recorded an episode yesterday. Anyway, yeah, which is like a politician basically. That's what a council is. Caesar used the mass migration of Celtic tribes from the Balkans to Gaul as his casus belli, which is justification. Cassius belli, something like that. It's fucking Latin. But also in the article, the Wikipedia article that I read for this, um, it said the Gauls were taller than the Romans and that's why they started the war. And I was thinking about it and I was like, maybe that's why Caesar started the war, but like the whole war was started by that. I don't know. Because like I was thinking about it, like short psychopaths are the one you really have to look out for. You know? Like people are talking about like the Trump shit right now with the election, and it's like, first of all, the president doesn't do anything. You got to realize this, guys. The president can't fire his personal chef. You think this fucker's gonna start World War III? Whoever it is, it's not gonna happen. All right, or it's not gonna happen because that person is the president. But anyway, people are talking about how like Trump's like some evil fucking like guy that's gonna come in and like destroy the world. Look at who has done that historically. It's short, fucking like ugly psychopaths. That's who does it ever. You think Trump's gonna do that? Trump's a 6'3" billionaire who's been married to multiple supermodels, and you think he has some vendetta against the world? The world has treated Trump better than it's treated the 99.9999% of people. Trump has walked through life unimpeded. He's not like some vindictive psychopath who wants to destroy the world. He's a psychopath of a different kind, for sure. That's what makes someone want to be president, is them being a psycho. But anyway, all that to say, short dudes are the ones people don't, you know what I mean? People ignore the shorts. The shorts come in though, and that's what makes them all the more dangerous when people ignore them. Because you ignore you're like, oh, Caesar, you mean that fucking 5'4" square-headed nerd with a receding head? Yeah, I give a shit. And then he comes and he enslaves like multiple countries of people. You know what I mean? That's why we gotta look out for the shorts, including me, dude. Who knows? Maybe I'll start a podcast empire. No, I won't. I'm far too lazy to do. I'm really too lazy to do this, to be honest. I I wait for like an hour of inspiration and work my ass off to do these notes, and then the rest of the week I do nothing for it until I record. But anyway, Caesar feared Gallic invasion. Gallic. God. Now that I said that, I can't get it out of my head. Gallic invasion. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about the militaries / warriors. The military, I mean, I guess they both had militaries, but anyway. So Rome had an organized standing army, which if you don't know what that means, it's like they always have an army. So other groups of people, it was like a war starts and some dude rides around on a horse and like recruits a bunch of people from like the villages to go fight in the war. That's what the Gauls did. But Rome had like a standing permanent army. Like no matter what, whether they were fighting or not, they had an army. That was extremely disciplined. But individuals paid for their own gear, and I think that ended when the Roman Empire officially began. So yeah, after that, they started paying for their own gear, or the Roman Empire started paying for their gear. God damn, dude, my brain is cooked right now. I don't know why. I was having all these fucking ideas when I was taking a shower about what I was gonna say, but now I'm cooked, dude. And we have over 45 minutes left, so pray for me, brothers. Pray that my mind is still working by the end of this. I don't have class today, so I don't really give a shit. But anyway, so it was made up mostly of heavy infantry, but had some cavalry. So yeah, it was mostly dudes on foot. They had like archers and slingers, which a slinger is just a dude who uses a sling to throw rocks really fast. But they didn't have a ton of cavalry. Most of their cavalry was auxiliaries, which were non-Roman groups who fought under Roman command. So I guess they were kind of like mercenaries, but kind of not. Like they were part of the regular military and they did work with the regular military. They just weren't like officially part of the Roman military. So I guess they were mercenaries, is the best way to put it. Legions were made up of infantry, cavalry, officers, and engineers, and had about 5,000 members. Yeah, and I was gonna talk about how they used like a supply train, but yeah, they used a supply train, and the legions would march together. You know what I mean? So it was like 5,000 dudes, and they said it would stretch like 2 miles long. It was crazy. But they also had many animals, which were used to haul supplies and like big siege weapons and stuff. Yeah, they were well trained and worked together as a unit to fight or really do anything. As we'll see, they spend a lot of time not fighting. They spend a lot of time like building bridges and stuff. But anyway, now we're going to talk about the Gauls. So the Gauls were, for most of the war, many tribes that fought independently of each other or not at all. Yeah. So they weren't like a one big cohesive group for most of the war. We'll talk about when they united near the end, but yeah, they were just the Romans would pull up on like an individual tribe or like a group of tribes, and then that group would fight the Romans, but like no other surrounding tribes would come to help them for the most part. I'm sure sometimes they would, but anyway. Warriors used raids on other Gallic villages to stay sharp between wars. So, I guess they kind of had a standing army, but not really. It was just a loose group of fucking retards. Which is, as we'll see, why Rome fucking crushed them. But anyway, they valued individual acts of bravery and were flashy. Gotta flip the notes. And they often had decorated armor or fought naked. Um, yeah, like I said earlier, they fought naked. I'm sure they like put some blood or war paint on them. Like, oh yeah, you're fighting naked, dude. I have a fucking crossbow the size of a house that will shoot a bolt that is 6 inches thick through your fucking head, dude. I don't. Oh, you're fighting naked? Oh, Oh yeah, I'm so scared. I have 30,000 archers, dude. Like, yeah. So that's the type of shit that makes me be like, they thought they were barbaric because they didn't water down their wine. No, they thought they were barbaric because they're fucking retards that fought naked. Like, let's call a spade here, guys. I get the Roman Empire or the Roman Republic isn't the most sympathetic character in this, but these guys were barbaric. But anyway, they had a much better understanding of cavalry and used it more than Rome. So most of Rome's cavalry was Gallic warriors, or like some Germanic warriors and stuff, which are different somehow. I guess because they occupied Germany. I guess that's what it means to be Germanic, or like Germany and the surrounding area. But anyway, um, they used attrition warfare against Rome. I don't know what that exactly means in this context. It could be like sieges or like guerrilla warfare. My guess is guerrilla warfare. Like they'd come out, ambush Rome, and then hit the woods again. And just do that over and over for like 20 fucking years or whatever until Rome gave up. That's my guess. And they would eventually unite near the end of the war. Alright. I'm gonna take a deep breath here because I have a lot of fucking talking ahead of me. I've talked a lot already, and I have even more talking. But let's get into it. We're gonna talk about the war itself. Like with last week, I bit off a bit more than I can chew. But you know what? We ball, man. Like I said, this is the learning phase. If you listen to the last episode, you really know how much this is the learning phase. I mean, that one was decent at the beginning, but completely fell apart near the end. And that's kind of this one has been falling apart the entire time, dude. I'm holding this together with hot glue and scotch tape, not even duct tape. You know what I mean? Scotch tape, that clear shit that tears easy as fuck. That's what my mind is being held together by right now, as I'm trying to do all this. All right, let's get into it. So I'm just gonna do like the individual events of the war, because like I said, it wasn't like two giant armies constantly clashing with each other until the end, and we're gonna go into a lot more detail at that point. But and we're gonna be in some decent detail here at the beginning too, because I didn't know how fucking much writing it would have to be to be detailed the entire time. But anyway, fuck. Let's just get to it. Alright, in 58 BC, a Gallic confederation, the Helvetii, began a migration off Gallic land. Rome feared that this empty land would be taken over. Goddamn. Holy shit, dude. I might be having a stroke for real. Rome feared that this empty land would be taken over by Germanic tribes, which were a greater threat to Rome than the Gallic tribe. The Helvetii originally planned to move through Roman lands as a part of their migration, but were denied by Caesar. So they were trying to move through some of Caesar's lands that he ruled over, and Caesar was like, let me think about it. He wasn't actually thinking about it. He was setting up a fucking attack to kill all these people. But anyway. See, yeah, that's what this next thing says. And that's why he stalled them when they asked to move through his land. But anyway, Caesar had been planning to attack all along and finally did when he found the Helvetii crossing the river Saone. He slaughtered all who had not crossed the river yet. And Caesar's engineers put up a pontoon bridge up, put a holy shit, put a pontoon bridge up, and Caesar followed the Helvetii, making unreasonable requests for surrender. So he's basically like, surrender and I get to enslave all of you, and also I get all your stuff, and like basically like forcing them to not be able to surrender so that he could kill them all and enslave them. And be like, well, they didn't surrender. What did you want me to do? That's basically what he was doing. Caesar's army was not able to be resupplied, and the Helvetii took this opportunity and attacked Caesar's rear guard. This led to the Battle of Bibcrate, something like that. The battle was hard fought, but the Romans emerged victorious. Caesar killed 260,000 of the approximately 370,000 Helvetii. In 58 BC, Caesar decided to attack the Suebi, a Germanic ally of Rome. Alright, so yeah, that's how things sort of came to an end for the Helvetii, is that they almost all got killed or enslaved by Caesar. Like, I think that's how he made his money doing this war. Like, they were talking about how this was a war so Caesar could pay off his debts. I'm pretty sure he was like conquering this land so that he could use it for farming and stuff, and also to enslave these people. He probably enslaved like 1 million fucking people doing this, dude. You gotta realize how fucking crazy that is for the year 58 BC. Like, the population of Europe as a continent was probably like 10 million, and he enslaved 10% of them. But also, being a slave in Rome, it could be really shitty, and you could be like basically tortured your whole life. Like, there's these things called galley slaves, which were, if you've ever seen like any old movies, like I just watched Troy, or not old movies, but movies about like antiquity, like that time. The ships they used that had the big oars coming out the side. They used slaves to row those ships, and that job was like awful, apparently. Like, the lifespan of one of those slaves was like, I don't know, not long. It fucking sucked doing that. Or you could be like a doctor or something. You know what I mean? It's like most people were slaves. Not to say that the slavery wasn't, bad. It was. It's just that most people were. So yeah, he attacked this Germanic ally of Rome. Caesar justified this specific like war, battle, conquest, whatever you want to call it, of this group, claiming the Suebi had attacked the Aediac. Oh, no, that's not a C. The Audi, an ally of Rome, and the Suebi. So, yeah. We look back on it now and we're like, yeah, this dude just made it up. And I also think, like, even if the Roman people, like the officials, the Senate at the time, knew that Caesar had made all this shit up, it's like, what are they going to do to stop him? This dude was literally, him and his army were unstoppable at this time. They could have conquered the world. And I don't think that's like, alright. Like I said, the headset's going to die a lot during this episode. It's a long one. But yeah, like I was saying, Caesar's army was pretty much unstoppable, even by his own like country. So, Caesar made a temporary truce with Ariovistus, the leader of the Suebi. Ariovistus broke this truce, and Caesar marched on his camp. I don't remember exactly how. It had something to do with the fact that Caesar sent a delegation to speak with him about something, instead of going himself. And also, Caesar was antagonizing him the entire time. Like, Caesar would like move his camp closer and closer to this guy, to make the guy think that Caesar was gonna invade him first. And so this guy was like, fuck it, we'll just fight him. Big mistake on his part, dude. Not a good move by Arivistius. But anyway, after a whole bunch of flanking, Caesar won. So yeah, If you read like any article about this, it's like some autistic nerd broke it down into each individual piece. Which I mean, good on him, dude. Like, thanks for doing that. But I wasn't gonna write all that down. Basically, they just kept moving flanks until Caesar won. But anyway, Caesar returned home to deal with his political duties. Then, in 57 BC, he began his campaign against the Gauls as a whole. So, at this time, it was just like individual beef. And then Caesar was like, fuck it, dude. They can't stop me. No one can stop me. I'm a beast, dude. I don't think this is probably like the most powerful anyone's ever felt. Like, I don't even think like Hitler felt this powerful. Or Napoleon, or any of those guys. Or like Genghis Khan. He was just like, I mean, and he was right. Literally, no one. People are like, oh, he was a fucking psycho. Yeah, he was a psycho, but he wasn't delusional. He knew no one could stop him. I think that was a fair belief that he held. Yeah, and so he's like, we're just gonna take out all of the Gallic land. We're gonna take out all of Gaul. Um, yeah, in 57 BC, Caesar led a campaign against the Nerval, which were a Belgic group. What? Oh, I think these are maybe the tribes. Attributes and Viramundi. Yeah, so those were the two tribes or like groups that made up the Nerval. Which, by the way, dude, you can tell by that name already that they're gonna get fucking crushed, dude. Nerval. Nerval's the nerdiest sounding name It sounds like nerd. Yeah, these guys were gonna get destroyed. This campaign was hard fought, but resulted in a Roman victory. Caesar left his troops in Gaul and forced the Gaul to feed and house them while he returned home. Caesar's a fucking, say what you want about the guy. This is some pimp shit. He's literally like going out and like fighting wars for 6 months and destroying like what what Rome thought were like some of the most fierce warriors in the world, and then just going home and leaving. He bitched the fuck out of these dudes. He's like, shit, take care of these motherfuckers while I go home. That's crazy, dude. That was a beast. Um, in 56 BC, the Veneti allied with the Armorica, which I was like, yo, dude, sounds like America. I thought that was sick. Um, who lived on the Atlantic coast of France and kidnapped several Roman officers. So the Veneti were the people who Caesar forced to like take care of his troops. And he also left his troops there not just because he knew that they would be forced to take care of them, but also like in case like an uprising started in that area, he could like the troops would already be there. You know what I mean? So he didn't have to like worry about getting them up from Rome or anything. Um, but yeah, and they kidnapped these Roman officers who like Caesar sent to like tell them to do something. I don't know. Or no, they were stationed there because he obviously left the whole army there. That's what it was. The Gauls forced the Romans to need to beat them at sea in order to wipe them out. The Roman ships required calm waters to fight, forcing Caesar to have to wait. So what I was saying earlier about the galley ships, the ships with the oars and stuff, that's the type of ships that the Romans had, which were good for the Mediterranean, but not for like the Atlantic Sea. So I think this is like near Normandy, which I mean, if you're an American, if you're a patriot and you're listening to this, you know where that is. Um, that it's kind of near there. But the Gauls, they had ships that were like outfitted with sails and stuff, and they didn't have flat bottoms like the Roman ships did. I guess the Roman ships had flat bottoms because they needed to go into shallower waters and ports and stuff, but the Gallic ships didn't need to. And so yeah, the Gauls were just way better in the water than the Romans were. So yeah, Caesar had to wait to fight them. Caesar was able to beat the Veneti by boarding their ships with grappling hooks. After this defeat, Caesar executed the tribal officials and sold the rest of the tribe into slavery. Yeah, like I said, this was like he was trying to get slaves in land, basically, to pay off his debts. And apparently these grappling hooks were like some insane technology that the Gauls didn't have. So, yeah, Caesar fucked them up. They were like, They could never beat us in the water, and Caesar went. I bet I do. Oh, your ships are way more advanced and faster. I bet I do. I bet I still beat you at the water. But yeah. And now I'm gonna skip over a fucking long period of time because I didn't know how much this was. And also, not a lot really happened this time. It's a lot of same old, same old. It's kind of what I already told you about. He would fight, a few tribes or like a confederacy, destroy them, and then go back to his place and then just do it all again. So from 55 BC to 53 BC, Caesar continued pushing into Gaul and Britain, slaughtering the Gauls and stomping out their attempts at rebellion. So yeah, he dominated, dude. Caesar really dominated pretty much until he died. The guy was unstoppable. You know what I mean? It's like LeBron. That motherfucker's gonna play until he dies, and he's gonna be good the entire time. Not to fucking suck on the little meat too much, but that is crazy. I mean, he's also obviously on roids. People, for whatever reason, don't want to accept that fact, but yeah, he's on roids. Oh shit, we only got 2 pages left, so this won't be as long as I thought. I guess I'm just not talking as much because my brain is fucking destroyed right now, because I recorded yesterday too. But that just sounds like such pussy shit, but it's true. It gets hard. You use up all your ideas. I have like 3 good ideas a week of like things I could say on the podcast, and I used them all yesterday. And also, it's like nothing happened between now and then. I'm trying to think. Did anything happen between now and then? Nah. Literally nothing. I did laundry. I killed the spider. I don't know. Oh, the fly's back. Or it's definitely a different fly, but the fly's back in here. We still have a class pet, in case you guys were wondering. Update on the mosquitoes. They all died. If you guys listened to yesterday's episode, that's a callback. Alright. Vercingetorix's revolt of 52 BC. So, yeah. We're just gonna get into it. The fear of the end of the Gauls came to a fever pitch in 52 BC, as 53 BC had seen some of the most brutal parts of Rome's campaign. The Gauls feared their holy sites would be destroyed due to their ingress to the Roman Republic. So yeah, if you lived under Roman rule, you had to be a Roman pagan. So they thought their holy sites were going to be destroyed, and also they thought they were going to be destroyed as a people. They were right. I mean, gotta give it to them. They figured that one out. And so that kind of caused a lot of people to want to join up in this guy's rebellion. Vercingetorix, king of the Arverni tribe, took advantage of this and assembled an unprecedented grand coalition of Gauls with an army numbering in the tens of thousands. So the army would grow even bigger, but right now it's about, I don't really remember, like 80k maybe right now. But anyway, Caesar was in Rome when he heard about the revolt and rushed to quash it. Vercingetorix heard Caesar was coming and abandoned his siege of Gorgobina, a Roman-controlled city. Yeah, it was a Roman-controlled Gallic city, and he was trying to get it back. And retreated to Avaricam. What? Avaricam, which I guess is a city, and was convinced to defend it by the Betuigiscubi, which are another tribe. I'm saying none of these names right, and I didn't practice because I don't know. I kind of rushed this week with 2 episodes, recorded one after the other, but I don't know. Who gives a shit? Anyway, Caesar arrived and set up a siege. In just 25 days, he pulverized Vercingetorix's forces, causing him to fall back further to Gergovia. That's got to be right. The capital of his own tribe. There, Caesar ordered an assault on the town, which ended in a Gallic victory. Upon this victory, many more Gauls joined the revolt. Vercingetorix would move his army one last time to the city of Alesia. This is where it gets good. or this is where it gets a lot more exciting because there's a lot of information about this one, and it's just so much more epic, dude. It's literally something out of like a poem or like a play, like Shakespeare would write this shit. It is insane. What happened at Alesia? Vercingetorix and his army of about 100,000 men at this point waited for Caesar in the city of Alesia. But after his failure at Gergovia, Caesar knew a direct assault would certainly fail, so he opted to besiege the city. Which, yeah, he basically just waited them out. Over the course of a month, Caesar's men set up 25 miles of fortification around the city, including moats, trenches, spike pits, and a wall. So it wasn't a solid wall all around the city, and it wasn't 25 miles long. That's like all like the trenches and stuff combined, but still, he set up a huge fucking wall around the city. And I think the city was probably already walled in to an extent, and he was just like, oh, another wall. So that they could not escape. And this city was not big, by the way. I think it was around 3,000 people. And Vercingetorix showed up with like 100,000. But anyway. Yeah, and there was like stuff to stop their cavalry because they had a really good cavalry. Spike pits, moats, all that shit. Upon seeing this, Vercingetorix sent his cavalry past the wall. He like snuck them out at night to raise up an army while he stayed with about 80,000 of his men. Caesar saw this and built another wall. Okay. I should have maybe drawn a diagram of this if you want to go on the Instagram and look, but you can Google images it. Google it. God, dude. My brain is cooked. I really also haven't eaten today. I haven't eaten in like 13 hours. Not 13, like 16. So my brain isn't operating as at its highest level possible. But that doesn't matter. So we got the city of Alesia, which is kind of on a hill, and there's like mountains around it. And so Caesar builds a wall around this city, like space, give him like 3 miles, a 3 mile diameter, and he built a wall and a bunch of trenches. Vercingetorix saw this and he was like, "What the fuck?" As anyone would. He just built a wall. And he snuck out his cavalry to get more men to attack this wall from the outside. Caesar saw that and built another wall around his wall. So Caesar is in between two walls that he built, and then past the inner wall is the city of Alesia, which Vercingetorix and his men are in. And after two failed attempts, the Gallic forces found a weak point in the wall. So like I said, there was like mountains around the area, and Caesar couldn't build a wall or really any fortifications at this point. But the way he built the wall and the traps and stuff, it was kind of like a funnel that would also like end up trapping them. So it was one section of wall, and then there was a space, and then there was another section of wall. If you get what I mean. So the guys could like sneak in through that little open section, but it was like a bottleneck. But anyway, the Gallic forces attempted to break through to unite their two armies at that point so that they could fight better, and they nearly did. Until, get this, dude, Caesar, general of this fucking army, leader of like two provinces, basically the governor of two states, rode into battle himself. Which, I mean, you also got to realize that this could have been like the end of his campaign against the Gauls, so that's probably given him an incentive to ride in, but it's still badass as hell, dude. Caesar himself rode in and trapped the Gallic cavalry between the two walls and two lines of soldiers. And by the way, he was like, at this time, it was really important to like keep your soldiers in a solid line. And especially in this battle, so that the two armies couldn't like break through the line and meet together. And there was like points where it was like one man, like there was no one backing him up. That's how thin his lines were stretched. But anyway, he trapped the cavalry that was trying to break through this point between two lines of soldiers, and destroyed them. I mean, massacred them. and thus the Gauls' rebellion was destroyed then and there. Yeah, so he destroyed the cavalry that was trying to break through, which essentially destroyed the Gauls' chance of uniting their armies, and yeah, destroyed their hope of rebellion. Vercingetorix would be executed 5 years later, and the Gauls were then enslaved. There was a couple other attempts at rebellion, but Caesar just kind of like left some troops in the area and like told them kill anyone who doesn't do exactly what you say. Yeah. So Caesar fucked shit up. He also pushed into Britain at some point. I I thought this episode was gonna be longer than it was. It's only 45 minutes. Goddamn. I gotta find something to ramble about. Let's talk about I don't know how insane Rome was. Like you gotta think about Rome, and this is like a long ass time ago, dude. But Rome was like so powerful it changed like the ethnic demographic of Europe in the year 53 BC because they would just they could just conquer anything. Like Europe used to be like a ton of like pretty different ethnic groups, and it still is, obviously. I'm not saying anything, but like British people used to be like 6 foot tall, like Celts. You know what I mean? And now the reason so many people in Europe look the way they do is because the Roman Empire came in and destroyed it. Which I mean, you can kind of say that about anything, but the Romans were kind of the first to do it. You know what I mean? I guess the Greeks did it a bit here and there, but Rome really like came in and fucked shit up. Stole all that land, got it right out from underneath them. But yeah, goddamn, dude, my brain is too fried to ramble. That's how you know I'm cooked. When I can't even just say retarded shit that'll end up getting me kicked out of school. No. When I'm too tired to do that. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, I wrote Rome will never die really big. Like I said, whenever I do these notes, it's usually like I just get a ton of energy and I'm like, let's do it. This one, it wasn't really exactly like that, but while I was writing it and reading about it, I did get a ton of energy because I was like, yo, dude, Caesar was the fucking man. Like I said, dude, short psychopaths, those are the ones you gotta look out for, I'm telling you. Everyone's like, when you're in public, you see like some big ass, like tatted up dude, don't worry about that guy, alright? What you gotta look out for, especially now, where the playing field is even, dude. We got guns now, alright? The big dudes ain't the ones you gotta look out for. You gotta look out for like some little psychopath. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, little psychopaths, if you look at history, every every genocide, Pol Pot, have you seen that guy? Little tiny fucking ugly ass nerd, dude. Killed like half of his country or whatever. Or maybe not half, like a third still. General Tojo, the Japanese as a whole. Japanese people are short as shit, dude. They destroyed China. And China's also probably short, to be fair. But yeah, I'm telling you. But there is a point where the shorts become peaceful. You know what I mean? Like all those pygmy tribes in like the Amazon and like Africa and stuff, chillest dudes. If you look at like history and stuff, literally even like within their own areas, they're not like super beefing with anyone. There's a I'd say probably from the heights of like 5'1" to like I'd even go all the way up to like 5'9", 5'10". Uh, those are the guys that when or when something really bad happens or really great, whether it's good or bad, it's usually bad. It's those guys. You know what I mean? Especially look at so I almost I was trying to say something. Like I said, my brain is cooked. I thought this episode was gonna be way longer. I'm trying to make it longer. Um, but I think yeah, this is good. So lessons we learned today. Look out for short psychopaths. The Romans were fucking unstoppable. And what else? What else did we learn today? I mean, maybe Maybe if you're not as war-mode as I am, you learn that it doesn't matter who's president. And yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do for next week. I really have no idea. Um, but hopefully it'll be better than this week because my brain is cooked. And also next week I won't be recording one episode one day and then another the next day. Um, and the notes probably won't be as intensive as this one. Like I said, this one was 5.5 pages of notes, almost 6 pages of notes, and so yeah. And I was just reading it the entire, and I'm not great at reading out loud or in my head. I've noticed that. I was like, dude, I can read so fast in my head, and I was like, no, I'm just skipping over sentences and reading words wrong. So, but yeah, everyone was slaves. Caesar was a beast, and yeah, look out for shorts. All right, see you guys. Uh, hopefully on Wednesday. Hopefully I'll have a Wednesday episode. I might not. It might come Thursday. But anyway, peace.